Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the West Goshen Township Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, April the 7th. To start the meeting, will you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be aware this meeting is being live streamed on YouTube, and the meeting may also be audio or video recorded by people present in the room. Our first order of business tonight is always a pleasant one. It's the annual West Goshen Police Department Award presentation. So we look forward to hearing all the good stories, and I'm going to hand it over to Chief Carroll. Thank you.
So this is our annual award ceremony. The board is kind enough to support us and allow us to do this once a year. I want to point out that all of our officers work hard every day and make a difference in someone's life every single day. But there's a couple of calls we see during the year that we think deserve some extra attention. There's a pat on the back for officers. So we're going to go through that today. I'm going to turn the ceremony over to Captain Davidia.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Again, thank you for the opportunity. This is very important to the police department. Like Chief Carroll said, these things happen on a daily basis. We could be here every month doing this, but we don't. So I appreciate your time doing this. And without further ado, we are going to begin the awards. We have 4 awards to give out tonight. First award, I'd like to call Officer Needham to the front. And I'm going to just give a small recap of the incident for the award. On the evening of January 21st of 2025, Officer Logan Needham was on duty and inside a local gas station convenience store. Being ever vigilant of her surroundings, Officer Needham observed an 87-year-old man inserting large sums of money into a cryptocurrency ATM machine. Officer Needham's experience led her to recognize that the man was potentially being targeted in a financial crime scheme, and she chose to intervene. Through physically intervening at the machine, personally assisting the victim in contacting the cryptocurrency company, and working with the local FBI field office, Officer Needham was able to stop the scheme and arrange for the victim to be reimbursed a total of $20,150. We would like to take this opportunity to commend her on her work with a letter of commendation to Officer Needham. Great work. I'd like to call Officer Robert Story to the front, please. On April 13th of 2025, officers from the Westchester Police Department reported over the radio being shot at during an incident in their jurisdiction. The shooter was not yet in custody, and it was later learned that several of the officers were injured as a result of the incident. Several of the West Goshen police officers responded to assist, including Officer Robert Story. Upon his arrival at the scene, Officer Story took it upon himself to immediately attempt to open a line of communication with the shooter. Disregarding his own personal safety and exposing himself to potentially great physical harm, Officer Story made direct contact with the person and established a rapport. Officer Story was able to successfully talk the subject into descending from his position on top of a third-story roof and submit to an arrest without further violence. Officer Story's actions resolved the situation without further injury, gunfire, or violence, and we would like to take this opportunity to commend him with this work and award him the Award of Merit. Thank you.
Smile.
Sorry. I'd like to call Officer William Barron to the front, please. On January 17th of 2025, Officer William Barron received a report of a potential fraud. A 77-year-old woman received a telephone call which led her to withdraw all the money from her checking account, package the cash in an envelope, and physically mail it to Florida. The victim soon realized that she had been scammed, and she reached out for help. Officer Barron responded to the victim's home, personally assisted her in setting up an online postal service user's profile, and then over the next coming days, directly worked with the postal services in both Pennsylvania and Florida to intercept the package. Officer Barron's assistance resulted in the victim recuperating the entire balance of their checking account, and we would like to take this opportunity to commend him on his work with this letter of commendation. All right, next I'd like to call Officer Sean Graham to the front, please. In the nighttime hours of July 20th, 2025, Officer Sean Graham received a call from a passing motorist of a man walking in the middle of the roadway on Phoenixville Pike. The caller feared that the man would be struck by a passing car. Officer Graham responded and contacted the man who was walking in the street as described. It was learned that the man was a veteran who was recently reported missing from an area hospital. During Officer Graham's interaction with him, the man produced a knife and began to push the blade of the knife into his own left forearm, stating he wanted to die. Disregarding his own safety and attempting to save the man's life, Officer Graham attempted to wrestle the knife away from him. During the struggle for the knife, the man continued to attempt to stab himself in the eyes and in the face. Officer Graham was able to successfully wrestle the man to the ground and hold the knife against the pavement until assisting West Goshen officers arrived. The knife was successfully secured, and neither the man nor Officer Graham sustained injury from the blade. The man's suicide attempt was stopped by Officer Graham, and he was transferred to a local hospital for mental health assistance. Officer Graham's heroic actions that night displayed outstanding courage as he acted without regard for his own personal safety and saved a human life, and we would like to take this opportunity to commend him on his work with this award for heroism. That is all I have, and I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you. And I want to say, first of all, thanks to all the recipients tonight for a job well done. Truly great stories, and we don't always remember or hear about them, but it's great to have this public opportunity to say thank you to you. And then on behalf of the board, I know I speak for them all when I say thanks to all the officers in West Goshen Township for what you do day in and day out to serve our community. It is much appreciated, and thanks for a job well done.
If I might add, could you make an article in the e-newsletter for these folks, with the letter, with the pictures that were taken as well? Let the whole community know what you guys do.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Made your part?
Huh?
So we made your part?
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Very good. We'll move on to the next item of business, which is agenda item number 4, the opportunity for public comment. So is there anyone in attendance who has a comment or a question they would like to ask? This is for anything that is not on the agenda tonight. Doug?
Good evening, everyone. Doug White, West Goshen. A question about the land development, but I'd like to just congratulate our military on the fantastic rescue of our down pilots. Job well done to our military, and job well done, President Trump, who gave the order. Thank you. Also, my question is, along Gershwin Drive, the landscape plan really hasn't been done yet, completed, and when would that be completed?
They would have to complete that as part of the final approval before any kind of escrow would be released for it.
Okay, so is that ongoing, or?
I know that Carroll Engineering's office just went out and did a punch list inspection. I don't know if that was included as part of that punch list, just because I don't know exactly what the punch list was for today, but it is on the plans and it has to be completed in accordance with the recorded land development plans.
Okay, yes, part of it has been done, but not all of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Rabari? You have 2 minutes, sir.
My name is Abbas Rabari. I'm a West Goshen taxpayer, 484-880-0276. Thank you for all your calls. I am on it. With respect to this, how these police officers are patting each other in the back, they forgot to mention Sergeant Detective David Maurer of West Goshen Police Department was stealing drugs, and he pleaded guilty to that. And he was giving those drugs to the hookers. And this was going on for a long time. I wonder why they didn't give him the reward. Because I think, they should know that, hey, one of their buddies in their own police department is doing this kind of a nonsense. But again, who am I to judge? And also, they were fined $6,000 by state for not being a 501c West Goshen Police Officers Association. You don't have to believe me, you can text that or Google that. And also, I wonder why when head of the public works hanged himself from a tree and they were allegation of stealing, I guess it's called a squirrel time, whatever that means. Nobody investigates that. What is going on in this township? And also, Deb Ryan, she was a DA, buddy of the police, and she was sued by Black Sheriff Kevin Dykes, and the county paid $126,000. What a great township we are living in. Thank you.
For the record, Mr. Rabari is not a resident of this township and he's not a taxpayer. The board affords him the opportunity to speak for 2 minutes. Don't interrupt me, sir. Please sit down. We've had this conversation many times. Please sit down.
I'm a taxpayer.
Please sit down.
You're out of order, sir.
Sit
I'm
down.
not out of order. He has to pay taxes.
If you don't sit down and be quiet, I'll have you removed from the meeting.
Remove me then.
We will if you keep up.
No, remove me so I can sue you and sue that police.
You've already sued us and the case was dismissed.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anyone else with
Not
public
this
comment?
fast.
Stephen.
Not yet.
Good evening, Board of Supervisors. I'll keep my remarks brief. I first want to begin with an invitation. This Saturday, April 11th, at St. Paul's Baptist Church, we're going to be honoring Shiloh African Methodist Episcopal Church and Cemetery in Westtown Township. It's straddling the border with West Goshen Township, which is of enormous national significance. This moment is going to feature Reverend Carolyn Cavanis, who is the first African-American woman pastor to preside over Mother Bethel in Philadelphia, a historic black church dating back to 1789 rather. This is a historic moment for our community, as well as Reverend Dr. Mark Tyler will be presiding as well. who is the National Historian and Director of Research for the entire African Methodist Episcopal Church. It's a pearl of history that's been erased to time, partially due to neglect and forgotten. But there are 14 United States colored troops, 140 graves. On the West Goshen side, there were many of these African American families who lived and worked in our communities. Deacon John Laws, as well as Isaac J. Winters, who was injured at the Battle of the Crater, worked on Forsyth Farm. And so that's just one of the reasons why we're persistent in our advocacy for Forsyth Farm, because it presents an enormous nexus of national history that we think needs to be taken care of and protected as a pocket park, open space heritage site. These are complicated issues. We certainly respect the difficulty around these issues, and we have been examining a very successful strategy that could bring in grant funding, donor funding. We have donors, high net donors that are ready and willing to step up. We are working through our process to see how we may intervene in these discussions. We reject the proposal that this land is developable, as it includes half of it as wetlands. And I just wanted to briefly, as I wrap up here, note that the March 17 notes regarding the discussion of initiatives and projects in the Park Recreation and Open Space Plan, short-term objectives and so forth, does not take into account any historic perspectives or insight. And 905 represents a tremendous opportunity because we already have 200-year-old witness trees, wetlands, which contribute to our environment immensely. And we think there's a real tremendous opportunity to have some of those discussions to create a really proud footprint of American history. And in closing, I just have to share this with you. I have 10 seconds. John Forsyth, I just found out, was one of the signatories of the Philadelphia Yearly Meeting, 1783 anti-slavery petition, which was delivered to the Continental Congress in Princeton. And it is a significant document which was displayed in the National Archives in Washington as part of A New World is at Hand. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Steve. Is there anyone else with a public comment?
I just want to ask Steve, this is a marker dedication, is that correct, on Saturday?
Yes, sir.
Is this marker currently somewhere, I mean, is it on the road somewhere?
It's actually on the road. Once we acquired the marker, we decided to put it in the ground so it's there, and then the official ceremony is Saturday.
I see, but it's not going to be where the location of the marker is going to be. Where is it going to be?
Yeah, it's actually going to be at St. Paul's Baptist Church because it'll allow for more people to attend and deal with handicap issues and so forth.
What's that, 11 o'clock it starts?
11 to 1 p.m.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else with a public comment? Very good. We'll move on to the first next agenda item, number 5, possible appointment of conflict counsel. Chris.
Mr. Chairman, before the board this evening is consideration to appoint conflict counsel for a project for Boot Senior Property LLC at 930 and 936 East Boot Road in West Whiteland Township. The project involves the construction of an assisted living facility in West Whiteland Township, and it has received land development approval from them. However, a small portion of the property crosses the jurisdictional boundary into West Goshen Township. The area in question is a 50-foot visual buffer. I provided a copy of the site plan showing the area in question. There is no construction proposed in West Goshen Township, and the access to the property is in West Whiteland Township off of Boot Road. As such, the applicant will be requesting a waiver from land development from the township. The township's normal solicitor is representing the applicant in West Whiteland Township, and due to this, they do have a conflict. Since we've used him in the past, I contacted Ryan Jennings with Unruh Turner, Burke, and Freeze, as the township has utilized them previously for a matter of conflict in 2024. Mr. Jennings has agreed to serve as conflict counsel for this matter and has provided an engagement letter for the board's consideration. He would bill us at the same rate as our normal solicitor, and all costs will be billed to the applicant, and a reimbursement agreement has been provided to their counsel. We actually received the signed reimbursement agreement back from them the other day. They will not be using Buckley Bryan for this matter with West Goshen Township. They've retained outside counsel with Riley Noxell from Barry Snyder in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So the property in question, the project in question, give me one moment. So this is the project in question. The green line represents the jurisdictional boundary between West Whiteland and West Goshen Township. And the area highlighted in red is the small portion of the property that's identified as a 50-foot visual buffer that is in West Goshen Township. So as you can see from the site plan, there's no access coming off of Boot Road in our jurisdiction, and there's no construction being proposed in West Goshen Township. As previously noted, it has received land development approval from West Whiteland Township.
Very good. Any questions from the board? Chris, I have just one question, and just clarity on this, who the solicitor is representing. So the Buckley Bryan is representing the applicant for the land development, but in this matter of this West Goshen parcel, they have a different counsel.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the board? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve appointment of Ryan Jennings from Unroad Turner, Burke and Freeze as our counsel for the land development at the on Boot Road in adjacent to West Whiteland. Is there a second? Thank you, Tina. Is there any questions or comments from the board on the motion? Any public comments or questions? Okay, then we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. Next is agenda item number 6, possible awarding of the 2026 paving bid. Chris.
Mr. Chairman, before the board this evening are the bid results for West Goshen Township's 2026 paving program and award recommendation from Carroll Engineering. A list of the roads for the 2026 paving program has been provided by Mark Bertolami, our Public Works Director, and the total mileage outlined for paving is 5.31 miles. The bids were opened on March 24th. There were 4 bids received. They ranged from a low bid from Glasgow Inc. in the amount of $1,073,690 to a high bid from T. Schieffer Contractors Inc. in the amount of $1,240,312.50. The township's budget allocated $1.3 million for the 2026 paving program in both the general fund and the state highway aid fund. So the low bid amount represents 21% below the budgeted amount for the 2026 paving program. In reviewing the bid results, Glasgow Inc. is the apparent low bidder, and this would be the 5th project that they have completed for the township if awarded the contract. They previously completed the 2015, 2018, 2023, and 2024 paving projects. I'm not aware of any issues that arose with those projects, and the most recent in 2024 was completed with good results. So based on this, we recommend awarding the bid for the township's 2026 paving program to Glasgow Inc. in the amount of $1,073,690 based on their bid dated March 24th, 2026, as recommended by Carroll Engineering in their letter dated March 30th, 2026.
Thank you, Chris. Does the board have any questions?
When would the work begin?
We're supposed to have a pre-construction meeting, and we'll find out more after that meeting.
Thank you.
They usually start that in the springtime, maybe late spring.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, Mark. Just looking at the bid results that we got 4 bids in, looks like the major difference that got Glasgow on the low end of it was for the overlay, the wearing course. They came in at $645,000 compared to the next lowest, which was $716,000. It's like 11% difference. Is there any concern there, the fact that they're coming in so low for the wearing course for that in their bid?
No, that's $82 a ton. That's not too bad.
Okay.
They make their own black.
Well, and it really leads me to my real question is, what kind of quality control will the township exercise over their performance on the job here?
Well, we'll do density testing, and then we'll do core work too.
So they'll be doing core and asphalt also? And those cores that are done of the actual paving project, how are they analyzed? Who analyzes them?
It goes to a third party at the lab.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a definitive analysis on their problem
Yeah,
there.
I think they can do their own testing, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. So it doesn't, they can hire like another party.
We've seen it both ways, where they do in-house testing or they go to a third party. Both have to be certified in order to apply for the liquid fuels funds distribution through the state, so.
Right.
So we're ensured that what they're doing is quality work.
Yes.
My other question is, how are the streets determined? From the list I see for this year, it's like 5.31 miles, I believe. I mean, how are the streets, who picks the streets?
I do.
No, you don't. Well, I guess what's the standards that you use to determine which streets are done? Just
It's
curious.
how they're aging when they're last been paved. I try to base them, I try to cut down on mobilization costs, having in the neighborhoods. So this is like 3 separate neighborhoods.
Right, okay.
So they're not moving all around the township. And then projects, aqua projects, people projects, and bounce around those projects too.
Thank you.
Other questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, so this isn't the type of contract where we have to accept the lowest bidder, right?
It is.
We do. We
Yeah.
have no choice.
Lowest responsible bidder, yes.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions. The road striping marking is a separate contract, right? That's done jointly with other municipalities. Is that correct?
The pavement marking bid.
Yeah. And that's done with other municipalities involved. It's like a joint bid process.
Yeah, I believe there's 6 municipalities this year that are joining in on it.
Have we ever done a joint bid on paving? No. Do most of the other surrounding municipalities do a similar program?
Yeah. I believe so.
Do you think there'd be an opportunity to reduce overall costs if we had if we did the same thing as we do with the road striping marking with this?
I think it would be difficult to do a paving program like we do in a multi-jurisdictional kind of operation, because you're talking about different mobilization, different areas. They'd have to kind of line it up to be sort of centrally located to limit the mobilization.
Yeah.
Like on the boundary between 2 townships?
Yeah.
I know that.
And, yeah, Mike had a good point, liquid fuels would throw a big monkey wrench.
Okay. Well, if that's the fatal flaw, then obviously it's, yeah.
And the pavement marking bid, it's more work than you think, and all the townships involved.
Yeah.
And there's not very many people that do that work too, isn't that part of the problem?
Yeah.
Pavement markings, there's like one company that does it.
Yeah, one or two, yeah.
Yeah, I know Mark reached out to a number of municipalities for the pavement marking bid, and some didn't respond to him.
Yeah, just, okay. One other question, one of the neighborhoods that you're doing is the Fresh Meadows, correct? And we've still got some work to finish up there on the stormwater. I know I've asked you this question before, but the intention is to not have any, the lining work that's still to be done is not going to involve digging the roadway up after we've paved it.
We're hoping, we're having a few issues, but we're hoping not to have to over. If we do, it's just gonna be a very small, you know, a 4x4 to get into a storm. But we're hoping we're not gonna do that.
Okay. All right, any other questions from the board? Very good, then, is a board member willing to make a motion to award the 2026 paving program bid to Glasgow Inc. in the amount of $1,073,690. Mr. Halvin moved to make that motion. To a second.
Second.
Thank you, Nate. Any comments or questions on the board on the motion? Any public comments or questions? Doug?
Are we responsible for Goshen Road paving at all, or is that state road?
So Goshen Road, are you referring to the project that's currently underway with Aqua? So that's being done by Aqua through a contractor. So they're going to come back and do trench restoration and final restoration on that, which I think should be occurring, based on Mike's email, I think it should be occurring relatively soon. Now, we're responsible through an intermunicipal agreement for a section of Goshen Road, but the portion closest to Pottstown Pike, under the intermunicipal agreement with the borough is the responsibility of the borough.
So there is a plan to redo the
Well,
road?
yeah, Aqua's going to do it as part of their restoration project.
Wednesday, the 15th. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, then we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. Agenda item number 7 is a discussion regarding the community park splash pad and electric service proposal. Now with us, Chris Peterson from Carroll Engineering. Welcome.
Good to be here.
All right, over to you.
Okay. Chris, if you wouldn't mind, go to the next slide. So I thought it'd be helpful to give everybody a little bit of background on this project. It's been around for quite some time. So I'm going to discuss the design history, the current design status, and then I'd like to pivot to some design elements that I'd like to discuss with the board tonight to get some clarity as we finalize the design. So I've laid these out here for you to digest, and we'll discuss all these items as we work through the presentation here. Go to the next slide. So just to recap the design history, we started in about 2022. We were authorized by the board at the time to conduct a feasibility study as to where the pad could be placed at the existing community park, where it makes the most sense to infiltrate the discharge water. We completed that study and issued a feasibility report in March of 2022, and it resulted in the concept sketch that you see before you here, with the splash pad being to the west of the existing basketball courts that were just improved last year, and then the discharge waters from the splash pad would then be distributed through a perforated pipe network in the existing basin there. Since then, we have incorporated this concept into the current design plans, and the splash pad is the same concept plan that was received from General Recreation in 2022.
Chris, is that the existing basin?
That's correct, yes.
Existing basin, so will there ever be any standing water in there as a result of that?
I understand that there's very little to no standing water now. It's known that it's quite underutilized at the moment. So, and the network that you're seeing is going to be a subsurface system in a clean stone media. So the discharge water will never be at the surface. It's intended to be infiltrated underground.
Okay, so it's adequate to accept that type of flow right now? The existing one is adequate?
That's correct.
Anything in the basin to retrofit to allow for more water?
Other than installing the perforated pipes as a distribution, no other modifications are needed.
We talked about putting plantings in there at one point, though.
Yeah, there was in the, one of the grant applications talking about putting in some plantings and stuff in the biggest.
I guess maybe just help with the saturation. It's not like it doesn't need it, but, you know.
It would certainly be a benefit.
Yeah.
I know, I don't want to speak for him, but I know Ken has always envisioned like wildflowers or something like that.
Do you anticipate any maintenance required for that filtration bed and the perforated piping? Could get clogged up or something like that? Is there going to be a need for periodically routing it?
I think it would make sense to keep eyes on it with videotaping, maybe concurrently with some of the stormwater efforts and looking at our existing infrastructure. But it should be potable water that's going to this distribution network, so we're not going to have certain things that are known to clog these types of systems, like sediment and refuse and things of that nature. So it should be very little maintenance.
What's the diameter of the perforated pipe?
That's still being determined right now. We have it as 8-inch, so it's relatively small.
So the design basis is, I believe, just over 100 gallons a minute max flow situation. I don't know, if that was left on for the 6 hours of daily operation, is the infiltration adequate to manage that? Is have you looked at that? Is there a factor above that you've allowed for?
We're still trying to hash out those design details, but the infiltration was rather favorable, so we're confident that we can appropriately size the pipes and the stone medium to accommodate the flows.
And if there was like a really bad thunderstorm or something like that, would still be okay?
We're adding storage in addition to the existing facility, so that the surface features, the topography of the basin as it is today will remain functioning as it is today. So just to give you an update on the current design status, Monday we had soft dig at the site. It was determined that an 8-inch aqua water main was traversing the park. We want to make sure that the facility is outside the limits of where the 8-inch water main is and also its associated easement. So we're looking forward to getting those results back from Soft Dig. We've been in contact with General Recreation on coordinating the design efforts at this time. Separately, we've also taken the guidance from the board and explored certain options for either adding the water service now where we can connect in the future for the splash pad and also the electrical connections. It was determined that the water service does not make sense to do that work now in conjunction with the family bathroom improvements since it's well outside of the current construction area and it involves different equipment that is typically mobilized for the work that is going on with the family bathroom. However, we did receive some good guidance on the electrical coordination that could be done now, and that involves including a circuit for future connection with the park, which I'll discuss later in the presentation. So that's the current status. Chris?
So, a quick question on that.
Sure.
The single 20 amp, I presume it's on our 20 volt circuit, that's going to be sufficient for this splash pad? Is that what you got from General Rec? That's all they're going to need?
That's correct. That's all been vetted with General Recreation, and then we've also spoken with our electrical subcontractor who did the electrical design on the family bathroom, and they've let us know that there's sufficient space on the panel and gave us the details.
But I'm saying that's all the splash pad's going to need is a single 20 amp circuit?
That's all it is.
Okay. I heard it.
Surprising to me too. Okay, so tonight I've got a few goals for this discussion, and these are things that are going to be pertinent to the design. One is the equipment selection. The plans that have been presented have not been altered since 2022. I just want to verify that the equipment that is shown on the current sketch is what the board wishes to see installed at the park. And this will affect certain things like water usage, general piping configuration, and just general layout of the facility. So we'd like to have these items nailed down at this time before we get too far in the final design of the equipment. Second is operating season and hours. What are your preferences there? Number 3 is system control mode, which we'll discuss later. Whether or not there's the desire to have perimeter fencing. And then lastly, the electrical change order that I just touched on. So here's a list of the equipment that's currently shown on the sketch from General Recreation. It details both the quantity, the type, and then also the general flow rate. These all equate to a daily usage, or I'm sorry, a gallons per minute usage of 106 gallons as it is currently shown. And that's what's also supported in the estimate that was provided by General Recreation. I understand that the board has been provided with a catalog of equipment, and I just was curious whether or not the equipment as it is shown in the current sketch is sufficient, or if there was any substitutions that would be made, or that we can expect to be made.
That was the online catalog that I emailed to the board on Friday. There's a link in there.
Has Parks and Rec Board looked at the equipment for this?
I don't believe they have. But what we could do is if there's any specific pieces of equipment that the board would like to evaluate, the Park and Recreation Board meets on the 15th.
Correct.
We can have this on their agenda to look
I
at.
definitely think yes, that is would you need a decision tonight?
Just some direction. Who's going to make the call?
Yeah, I mean, you just need to know that the GPM is really what the equipment we're going to get. The GPM is kind of the key thing for your design phase. With respect to the equipment itself, we can take the time for the Park and Rec Board to weigh in on what makes sense and what information or experience anyone has, or what other comparable systems look like. Because we really just work with this one vendor, so hopefully, this equipment is what we want, and it gives enough broad age group to be able to use it, kind of thing. But we're not experts on it, so.
So what we can do is provide the Park and Recreation Board, we can send out the materials for their meeting. We can provide them with Chris's presentation, as well as a link to the online catalog to take a look at.
Is the equipment going to affect the flow?
It is, yeah. And also maintenance too. I think an important thing to consider is that what you have shown before you are considered very low maintenance features. They do have more complex features that they offer, things that have moving parts and dumping features and things like that. And with that comes more cost and obviously more maintenance. So
Are we
just
wanting
something to consider.
Are we wanting to stay at 106 or below? Or is there like wiggle room? And does the online catalog provide these flow rates for the different pieces of equipment? Like if we were to play around with kind of like different,
You do have a latitude to play. You know, we can accommodate more, we can certainly accommodate less. So I want to say the catalog includes it. If it does not, once the equipment has been selected, I can speak with General Recreation and determine those technical items.
Do we know if this kind of equipment's flexible, so we put something in and what, you know, to start with, and then 3-4 years down the road, we say, you know what, we could do with something, change out of a few pieces of equipment, change some things up. Is the equipment itself able to do that with this kind of pad? And then secondly, what kind of, within the design parameters, what kind of flexibility would we have around? Well, you can change it, but you can't go over this GPM or whatever else because the rest of the system's only designed for that. Do you have any feel for that?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of flexibility there. The piping is such that there's going to be more than enough capacity for each fixture, so they can be interchangeable if you'd like in the future.
Yeah, because it's hard to nail people down now to make, this is the equipment we want when I don't have any experience of it, right? So, you know, we're going to go with something that seems right, but then when we get people to use it, they may say this feature or that feature would be nice to have.
Certainly, we want to have something that would be interchangeable like that. So
okay,
we're going to size the piping appropriately.
Sounds good. All right, so we have a way forward on the process, Chris?
Yep.
when is the Park and Rec meeting?
They meet next Wednesday.
So you're gonna send them the catalog now so that they can look at it and have a discussion at their meeting?
Yeah, so what happened, the process is Ken distributes their materials the Friday before the meeting, so they'll get everything on Friday afternoon, so they'll have, yeah, they'll have the weekend plus leading up to the meeting to review everything. Are you I was going to text you and see if you were okay with it. Are you comfortable with that?
That's fine.
Okay,
So by our second board meeting, will we have some direction for Chris?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, Chris, I mean, these other decisions you have tonight are probably more imperative for you in terms of progressing the design, sort of the final, which bits of equipment with this contractor are going to be less versus the size of the pad, the fencing, those kind of things, right?
Yes, we need equipment.
These can come later.
Yeah.
We need equipment though, now.
So I think if we get feedback for, if the board's comfortable with it, we get some feedback from the Park and Recreation Board, and Chris can kind of continue moving forward with the design.
Yeah. The goal is to give ourselves time to do a little bit more work on the equipment versus not slowing you up.
Very good. Appreciate that.
So that was decision one, kick down the road.
And just a little bit more context, here's the general equipment layout, the schematic plan of the equipment that was detailed on the previous sheet. So 14 features across 3 aqua play zones. As we hinted on, or as we touched on, 106 gallons a minute right now is what is proposed. The overall dimensions are roughly 73 by 73 that is currently shown. We go to the next one. So we're looking for some input on operating season and hours. Again, this is related to water usage, and you know, we've looked up some general recommendations as well as looking at operating hours for municipalities that also have splash pads in the local area. What we have found that is typical is late May through early September. It is the primary season when these are operated. You know, we're used to seeing a Memorial Day opening with a closing on Labor Day. This sort of aligns with school calendars and it's consistent with higher daytime temperatures, and I think that makes sense for this area. As well as recommended daily hours. So we looked into this too. The standard window seems to be about 11 a.m. to anywhere between 5 or 6 o'clock at night. I've given you some scenarios down below. Whether you pick a shorter season or a longer season, it can vary costs in terms of water usage by about 40% or more. And now, this is a very conservative estimate. This is assuming continuous operation for the windows that are shown on here. So I expect it to be much less than this based on rainy days, actual usage of the park. So, but I just wanted to give you an idea and looking for some guidance there.
So a couple of questions. So is the water on a timer? So if you initiate the system, is it on a timer and then you have to reinitiate it? What's the on-off sequence then?
Yeah, so it's a push button mechanism that operates the equipment, and then it would be on a simple timer.
So it might be on for 5 minutes and cut off, and then you have to push the button again.
Correctly. Okay.
And is the equipment removed during the off-season? So like the actual spray attachments and things, they're removed. Is it just down to grade, or are they permanently in through winter weather and everything else?
Everything is in permanently. There needs to be some winterization work that happens, but that typically is with the manifold system and piping that you're not seeing that is below ground.
Okay.
You have a cellular valve in each buckets, or is it going to have one cellular valve?
Well, that depends on
Configuration.
decision number 3, which we're coming to, which we can discuss, but yes, so it can have as little as one solenoid that operates all the equipment with one push button, or you can have as much as one push button for every piece of equipment, which we recommend. There's really, really heavy upfront costs with that, and then also very, very heavy maintenance with that. With each button comes a separate controller, a separate solenoid valve, a separate valve cluster, and it's already specialized equipment, so we want to err on the side of something much simpler than that.
And they do temperature.
You know, when you go and press one, you're putting all the water out, it's like a ton of water.
On all the equipment.
So it's like,
So decision 2, Chris, I mean, it's great information, and it's obviously a decision that needs to be made, but again, is it something you need today for design, or is this more, I need to tell the board this is the kind of type of cost that's involved and the typical operating parameters? I mean, in terms of design, I mean, this is flexible to me. We could open a little bit earlier if we wanted to, close a little bit later, or shorten it, or change the hours. It's not. This would, I would hope, something that would be programmable in terms of the time of day.
I was looking for your thoughts in terms of whether or not you think that the daily operation would exceed 8 hours. Because what we would do is size the discharge water appropriately for 8 hours at the longer season, just to make sure that we're covered. If in the future you decided you wanted to change the operating hours based on the input of the public, then you have the latitude to do that. So, but anything in addition to that, I'd want to know about now.
What time do the parks close now?
So the parks are open from dawn to dusk,
In the summer, okay.
all year round, dawn to dusk.
Okay.
Do you have camps that use the parks in the morning? 'Cause
Yes.
I would think it gets hot in the summer at 9 a.m.
So we run our 8-week summer camp program.
Yeah, we do run the camps during the summertime. I would think during the summertime, we probably would be looking at more than 8 hours. Camp begins at 9 o'clock. We have talked about the possibility of, after this is installed, expanding that community park to a full-day camp location. And I would think that there would be great interest in people at the end of the workday coming to the park and taking the kids. So I would think that it would be operational till sundown, which would be at least probably close to 12 hours.
you mean like May through September this?
Well, certainly during the
Or just
summertime.
during-
I would think, June through August, it would probably be those hours.
Ken, would we have an employee at the splash pad while it's in operation?
As far as I know, there are no lifeguard or any other kind of staffing requirements, and we would not have a staff present throughout. We would have public works staff that are specifically trained for the operation, so if there was a problem, they would be ready on call to address it.
Did you mean during camp though, Nate, or did you mean just generally?
You're talking about.
Generally, okay, I just meant during camp.
I mean, we're only talking about actually operating the splash pad from May to September.
In June, July, and August.
So, I mean, I don't know how much a 12-hour day would add to the overall cost or wear and tear on the equipment, but I don't know what, like, public, I don't know if people use the bell tower thing at night, like, at like 6. I don't know if people are going to do that. Is that something we could change later?
And if the board is okay with punching the ball down the line a little bit, I could certainly contact colleagues in the field who manage splash pads to find out what their experiences are in terms of typical hours used, what hours they find are optimal for their operations.
I think 12 hours sounds long to me. I mean, this is designed for toddlers and younger kids. It's not really a teen hangout place. I know, but 10 hours is, you could start at 10 in the morning and go to 8 at night. That's a pretty long day. 12 hours sounds too long. I'm looking at Chris because he needs the information really.
I know, but I'm also like, we do have a summer camp that's going to be there. It's probably going to be a lot of kids, so we're going to want to use it. And then just shutting it off at 5 when it's still like.
Well, I agree with that. It's 5 is too early.
Okay, so that's 8 hours.
But I think 8 or 9 o'clock is too late.
No, if you start at 10 in the morning,
Yeah, 7, 10 to
Yeah.
7.
then
If
7
it's
is
after
9
dinner,
hours.
if they want to go.
9 hours. 9 hours, Chris.
Well, I mean, regardless of the amount of time that it'll be open at any given day, I mean, you just need to know how it's going to be utilized to determine the size of the plant to accommodate the flow rate, correct? So 106 gallons per minute is going to be true at 10 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, but I also have to look at it at a daily loading standpoint,
And
so.
for what reason?
The infiltration.
Because of the infiltration
Okay,
that
for the
to
infiltration
discharge
by
the
itself.
water.
So what did you catch?
So I guess the important thing to take away from here is I would like to know what the maximum hours of daily operation is. That's what's really critical to the design.
I'm hearing 9 hours, whether it's 10 to 7 or 9 to 6 or 11 to 8 TBD, but 9 hours seems a reasonable compromise between.
And would you have enough capacity to accommodate if we did decide to go for a longer period of time, on any given day, to be able to, with filtration bed, be able to handle that?
I have to look at that. I mean, if I'm hearing 9 hours right now, if you thought there was a potential that we'd have to go to 12 hours, then I'd have to size for that now.
Yeah, I don't see us needing to go
If we're talking 9 hours, it's probably not going to be 9 hours a day during the entire operating season. I mean, you're probably looking shorter hours in May, and as it stays light out longer and as the weather gets hotter, you're probably looking at, extended hours in that June, July, August time period, and then it starts to taper off.
And are those flows calculated on continuous? Because this would not be continuous either.
Yeah, it's the worst case scenario, so it's
Okay.
assuming continuous use for all
That's
9
what I mean,
hours.
yeah. From the engineer's perspective, you would design it that way.
Yeah, that
Reality-
point's not lost on us, but I would want to be conservative, so there is a safety factor built
But in
in.
reality, it's not going to be continuous.
And
Absolutely.
what happens if we get into like drought restrictions? Would we be shutting this off during that time?
I would presume so.
Yeah, that would have to be like a policy determination for the board, but I assume that it would be shut off during that time period.
Or the county may mandate it.
Yeah, so something like this as a maximum usage by an hours basis would be something we would expect to be written to maybe your operation and maintenance that you put together for this facility once it's in place.
And I think going back to the time period, I think looking at like a 10 to 7 time period, camp starts at 9 a.m., that gives you an hour after camp starts. Camp goes until what, noon?
Currently, yes.
Yeah, currently goes until noon, so that gives you some flexibility there. And then going until 7 kind of gets into the evening hours as well.
Yeah, made a decision. Good. Decision number 3.
Sounds good. Okay, we already briefly touched on this a little bit, but system control configuration. So right now, option A is what is shown. This is fortuitous for municipalities because this is specialized equipment. We are expecting municipal maintenance to try to maintain this, and we obviously want to keep it simple and easy to maintain. So we've elected for a single valve option right now. So the push button will activate the equipment altogether, and then it will be on a timer. There's also the option to operate this as a multi-zone. So you can have multiple switches operating multiple pieces of equipment. With that comes a higher upfront costs, multiple solenoid valves, specialized maintenance, what have you. So I was looking for some direction as to how we wanted the facility operated.
So when I look at the sketch, it looks like there's kind of 2 zones, really. One is this bigger parcel with most of the equipment in it. And then there's this smaller area that looks more like a toddler area. So is it possible to just do 2 zones?
Yeah, I think that makes sense in this instance.
So, I'm just I know this is decision 4, but just for a visual.
Yeah, I guess back to my original questions, is there going to be a huge difference in cost between the water usage from pressing one button and having everything constantly going versus having a trigger-ish thing?
We've not looked at that. There certainly will be a cost savings with any amount of water that you're not having run through the equipment. How much that may be, it depends on usage.
But it's going to be offset by higher maintenance on multiple solenoid valves, control panels, problems.
I anticipate maintenance costs to be higher for more complexity in the system that would outweigh any additional costs in the water usage.
You believe that, right?
I believe that.
Okay. So what do people think about my suggestion of 2 zones?
Yeah, I like that. That makes sense.
Okay. Decision made.
Thank you. Now some easy ones. Perimeter fencing, so we have the sketch here. Right now, there's going to be a slight difference in elevation between the 2 facilities, and now we're going to have 2 zones of spray. The fence is a partition for some of the younger folks who are going to be using the left side, and some of the older children would be using, or possibly adults, I guess, using the upper area. So, but what we want to know is, are you interested in also having a perimeter fence? Do we want to keep this area enclosed, similar to like what a playground would have, or do we want to have it more open?
Well, you're showing a fence now that would separate the toddler area from the other area, correct?
Correct, and that's mainly
So
just for the tripping
maybe
hazard that
around
exists.
half of it.
What is the elevation difference between the lower level and the upper one?
It's about a foot to a foot and a half.
Yeah, you want to have a half.
So you got a fence there.
Yep.
But in the rest of it, I don't see what's the point, unless we're trying to limit access to it, which I don't see how we do that.
No, yeah, it would only be that little part.
Yeah, just that part.
Yeah.
And put park benches around the other side, just to help define the perimeter of it.
You have space for a park bench, do you? Just a curve, isn't that just a curve there where the fence is?
On the overall layout, you're talking about the far side of it,
Oh, okay.
or this side as well.
Yeah.
Just for the
But there's no cover, is there? I mean, I could see them not using it as much in the hot sun in the afternoon, no cover over this.
We had discussed early on, like maybe adding like some type of a shade structure.
Yeah.
There are
Especially
positives
for
and
the
negatives to
parents.
both of that. We also talked about potentially like back away, like maybe some trees or something like that, but nothing over the splash pad because we don't want the leaves getting in.
We have the pavilion right there.
Correct.
Kind of optimistic on that.
Well, can you still watch your children from the pavilion, from there? I mean, it's gonna be tough for the parents.
We just need trees. We can't get like fully grown
No,
trees.
that's,
I think we need to grow into this a little bit. I think designing, seeding, some shade cover, where trees may be planted, it's too difficult until they get further along in finalize the design, get very close, and then look at Ken and the Park and Rec board to say, yeah, we should put some benches, tables in this area, start with that, and then if they find that it's underutilized because people feel it's too blisteringly hot, then we can look at what would the actual shape with.
Can we put some picnic benches in there, maybe with an umbrella or something like that at some point? You know, when we find them being needed or necessary.
So no perimeter fence.
Just the one
Just that
section?
one,
Yeah.
Just the partition fence, not the perimeter
Partition,
fence.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Would it be advantageous to maybe make the grade the same and eliminate the fence? Because you may have a parent who's trying to watch the kids on both sides, and now make the fence they kind of go around the toddler versus the kids.
The grade change was actually fortuitous because of the topography that's there, which is actually about 5% grade, so it's less money and less effort to actually have it terraced like that, because it'll blend into the topography a little bit better, actually. So that was a specific design choice that was made based on the site constraints.
So just so clear, so that means that far side of the larger area is a grade level, you walk right on that, there's no step up to get onto the path.
That's correct. Okay, and then the last item is the electrical change order. I briefly touched on this before. This was vetted both with Keystone Electric and also General Recreation, but we confirmed the electrical requirements for the pad, and since the family bathroom project is ongoing, it seemed a fortuitous time to try to put in that connection now, since electrical work is going on at this time. It was a simple 20 amp circuit that could be installed at this time, where it basically extends just outside the work area for the family bathroom. This makes it much more easy to connect to in the future as part of the splash pad construction. So we have a change order that was presented by Lenai in the amount of $3,300.85. And I'm interested in seeing if you're willing to approve that change order.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's also, it's a 1-inch conduit, so that would accommodate, if they need to have additional wiring for additional circuits, they'd be able to do that.
That's correct.
What's the location of the box, the junction box? Where would that be located? I mean, do you have any idea where the control panel is going to be for this splash pad at this point?
There'll be a separate control panel that's directly adjacent to the splash pad, and that's where the line will be run to eventually from the pole box that would be installed as part of this change order. So the pole box location will be just to the east of where the new family bathroom addition is, just outside of where the sidewalk's going to be.
Okay, so you want a decision on that. So is there any further board discussion on this change order for the existing electrical contract for the additional bathroom? Okay, then I will make a motion to approve change order in the amount of $3,300.35 for the addition of this electrical work to the contract with Lenai.
A second.
Any board questions or comments on the motion? Any public comments or questions? Steve?
We had a drought last year, so how does that factor into the usage of this? Is it just something you turn off if there's?
Yes.
And 106,000 gallons per minute, 8 hour.
106 gallons per minute.
Gallons per minute.
106.
Over 11 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. at night. What does that roughly work out to? What does that cost to the taxpayer?
Well, the conservative estimate in the information that Chris has is $90,000 worst case here. So that's on full on every day for that season. So there's two things here. One is it's only on for whatever the timer allows the system to be on. So if it's highly utilized in a day, yes, it would be on a lot. If there's a day it's underutilized, it would not be on very much.
It's like a trigger system.
Yes. Any other questions? Doug?
May I ask a general question, or is this only for the electrical change order?
Just on this motion right now, Doug.
Just a change order?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll wait for the other.
All right, so any other questions on the motion? Okay, let's take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. Okay, Chris.
Okay, this last slide here. So how we're anticipating this project going is that the splash pad equipment and installation could be done through the CoStar's purchasing program. General Recreation is a certified vendor through the CoStar's program. Their equipment that they have shown in the proposal is their preferred installation method is to use their certified Aquatix installer. And we think it would be fortuitous to the township because if a general contractor, if say this was going out to bid, a general contractor would have to approach General Recreation for this equipment anyhow. And the spec is likely to be written to use a certified installer, which I understand there's one in Pennsylvania for General Recreation. Separately, the site work contract would be bid publicly. This would include the things that we've touched on tonight: the discharge piping for the distribution network, the electrical conduit to tie into the box that you just approved through the change order, and then also the water service line, and then some incidental grading, landscaping, what have you. So all those items we anticipate would be done ahead of the splash pad installation so that you could just plug in and basically connect your water, your electric, and your discharge piping at that time and complete the facility. So that's what we anticipate would be most fortuitous to the township, and I just want to get your general thoughts on that approach.
Makes sense to me. I mean, I presume you have no other experience of this kind of equipment vendor using a preferred contractor to do the install, but it makes sense for this type of equipment, right? They can have the
It's pretty specialized equipment, so I would want to see a certified installer or something like that.
Also, does General Rec require that they do the installation in order to uphold their warranty for this?
I don't think it's necessary, but it's preferred that they use their certified installer. And I don't think it precludes the township from using anyone else.
Is a certified installer though a CoStar contractor?
That's my understanding.
Double check that.
We will check that.
But are we just voting one contract? We're not awarding two, right? We're just awarding one to General Rec.
One CoStar's contract and then one publicly bid site work contract.
So there's one contract for the equipment that includes the installation.
Oh, okay.
Are you saying that even if we were to go with another contractor, they would still be purchasing the equipment from General Rec anyway? Is that what you said? It's because they're the only ones that make this kind of equipment?
Not necessarily, that's just who the township has currently been working with for the spray equipment.
So it makes more sense.
Yeah, they're kind of an industry leader in this.
Yeah, okay.
What kind of warranty do they have for this
I was going to
equipment?
ask,
Not just-
what's the warranty?
We don't have that information tonight, we have to get it for you.
Yeah, I'd like to know, I mean, are we talking about a year, are we talking about 6 months, 10 years? I'd like to know what we're getting into.
Chris, is this the kind of equipment we're going to need a service contract with for maintenance? The equipment.
So you're asking if general recreation needs to provide the maintenance contract?
Yeah, are we going to be tied to this install vendor as a service contract? Because that's going to be too.
That's not my understanding. No, it should be able to be maintained by Public Works.
Okay.
And Mark and Mike have been involved in the conversations with general recreation through the planning process. How do you guys feel about maintaining this?
We can close it for the winter. We can maintain it. Something we can't handle, we'll have to call somebody.
Okay.
They're always looking for more work.
Other questions for Chris? Oh, did you finish, Chris? I'm sorry. We've got an estimate here of the construction bid. And,
I have a thank you slide, but I'm done with that.
Any questions for Chris from the board?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay.
Is there any concern with individuals using the suntan lotion or anything going into the ground since we're just using regular water?
No, I think the amount of sunscreen that could be potentially washed out with the amount of water that's being used would be de minimis, so we've not considered it. I think it would be akin to almost having like a sprinkler, you know.
So just kind of following up from Dean's question, are there any safety concerns here with the operation of this splash pad that we need to be aware of? I mean, people slipping on the surface there or something like that, or?
Probably concrete, right? I mean, what is it made of?
It's a porous surface. I believe it's a rubberized porous surface for the interior, and then the surrounding perimeters is a cast-in-place concrete. We can look into the safety recommendations provided by General Rec.
Kids running around here, so we don't want anything happen.
I'm more worried about the grandparents slipping and falling.
Yeah, that could be too, yeah.
I presume that General Rec has the safety recommendations data sheet
Yeah,
that we would
they have to say
share with
what
the
the-
township, and I think it would influence how the facilities operated, like we would be posting rules that are associated with the splash pad.
Right.
So I
As
think
long as we have a sign that says no running.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, because
So it's there. Chris, did you get what you needed from the board tonight?
I did, thank you very much.
So just to kind of summarize some of our next steps, and before I do that, Ken, Mark, Mike, do you guys have any comments on Chris's presentation?
Doug, you had a question though as well, right? What was your general question?
Are there any public health concerns or infection controls concerns that public swimming pools would have? Since this water is not going to be treated like pool water, which is treated to prevent spread of infection, and this being a public place, if kids go on there on this pad and there's open wounds on their feet and it's not treated water, I mean, is there a way to have chemical addition of chlorine to this water?
So this is the same water that is coming out of the tap, at any tap in the park, so it's been chlorinated, it's public water. There is an option to run this facility as a self-contained unit where the water is recycled. There's a much higher upfront cost to that. You need to have an attendant, you need to run it like a pool, there's daily testing to check for pH, chlorine. That's not this type of system, so it's purely just tap water coming out and then going into the discharge.
Okay, so in best practices for these things being built, generally, what kind of public health measures can be taken to prevent infection control if it's not going to be treated like a swimming pool?
I mean, this isn't like a swimming pool, because a swimming pool would contain
Right.
everything in it. This is going to.
It's like rainwater, like if it
Exactly.
were to rain and you're walking on the sidewalk, like, it's
Right,
just
right, I
like
understand, but still, it's a
Yeah,
public
I think
place.
part of the rules would include discouragement of ingestion. Is the number one thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
So no drinking the spring water.
What I heard, so it sounds like Chris has everything he needs, and what I heard from our action items are we're going to provide Chris's presentation and the online catalog to the Park and Recreation Board for their review at their meeting on April 15th, and we'll proceed forward, we'll get their feedback, and then we'll proceed forward accordingly. And then I think we'll bring, once we have all of that, we'll bring a final cost proposal for general recreation before the board at one of the meetings in May, sounds like. Then go forward from there.
Yeah. So realistically, Chris, this install's not going to happen until the fall, is that what you're thinking?
I think that sounds right.
One of our plans was to make sure that we weren't doing construction during camp, so you're probably looking late August when we would probably begin construction.
And if I had to guess, general recreation has a decent lead time for some of this equipment too, so that could be on the order of months. So I think we're definitely looking at fall.
So we have that weird situation where we get it all complete and the season's well over. Yeah.
Okay, I'll make for a nice ribbon cutting in spring.
Yeah.
You don't have to clean the lines, so they can run it.
All right. Any other final thoughts, comments from anyone? Very good. Thank you, Chris, for that. We'll move on to agenda item number 9, which is 8 discussions regarding proposals from M&K Renovations through the CoStar's Cooperative Purchasing Program for repairs to the pavilion at Cooper Smith Park. Chris.
Mr. Chairman, before the board this evening are proposals from M&K Renovations for repairs to the pavilion at Cooper Smith Park. These proposals are being provided through the CoStar's Cooperative Purchasing Program. By way of background information, the township became aware of concerns related to the structural stability of the pavilion at Cooper Smith Park in the fall of 2025, and the pavilion was restricted from public use. We also had a structural engineer from Carroll Engineering evaluate options, and we allocated $150,000 towards repairs to the pavilion. In the interest of working to have the pavilion addressed before the start of the township summer camp program, our Assistant Public Works Director, Mike Cacavel, met with representatives from M&K Renovations to provide a cost estimate. We provided those to the board for their review. The first estimate is for demolition of the existing pavilion and modifying the roof line for necessary overhang on the remaining structure, while the second is for renovating the existing pavilion by replacing the damaged structural wood. Mike did have Michael Tracek from Carroll Engineering Corporation evaluate the proposal, and I provided his evaluation for the board. Essentially, just to summarize, in terms of the renovation, in terms of the demolition, he believes that the work described makes sense. And in terms of the renovation, it's his opinion that the repair they're quoting will make the pavilion structurally safe.
Thank you, Chris. Does the board have questions?
I actually had one as I was reviewing it. Oh, I'm sorry. Mike, was it 2 parts combined or one or the other?
One or the other.
Okay, that was a little bit confused about that.
Is it cheaper to demo it?
No, it's 20,000 more.
It's just a demo with the overhang, it's
Cheaper to
$20,000.
demo it, but to renovate it's another $15,000 to have it up and running for summer camp.
Oh, so it would be ready for summer camp?
I don't want to say yes, but it depends when we can get moving on it, what M&K's availability is, materials, and things like that,
But
so.
would you be doing construction during summer camp if it's summer?
No, we would, like I said, if it gets approved tonight, I would give it a call tomorrow, and see what the schedule's looking like, if it gets approved, and get on it as soon as possible.
I guess from an engineering perspective, what's the better option? Can it be repaired? Is it safe to be repaired versus demolition?
Yes, that was our structural department's opinion, is that the repair or the demolition work were both sound.
So if you do just the demolition, it's $33,975, and then if you do the renovation, it would be $20,000 more.
So just to be clear then, the demolition would be eliminating the overhang for the pavilion. So where all the park, the benches are now with the picnic tables, we wouldn't have any protection there for folks, is that correct?
Everything would be open. I would recommend, given the budgetary flexibility and the numbers that Mike got, I would recommend doing the renovation because we do have a number of people who rent out that pavilion for picnics, and we have the campers.
Okay, so I'm hearing the board is in favor of the renovation project in the amount of $53,975. Structural engineer from Carroll Engineering says it's a sound approach. Anyone disagree on the board? Okay, is the board member willing to make a motion to approve the M&K renovations quote in the amount of $53,975 for Cooper Smith Park Pavilion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, John, for a second.
Second.
Thank you, Nate. Any comments or questions on the motion from the board? Any public comment or questions? Stephen?
Do you know what the new park was named for, Cooper Smith?
I just know the name Jack Cooper Smith, but I don't know his background.
Did he donate the land?
That is one of our older parks, I believe. They've been acquired in the 1970s. So, yeah, I certainly don't know the whole history of the research.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes 5-0.
Just on that question though, Mark, any other parks that we have that have these pavilions, I mean, are they any kind of shape like that? I mean, this park got in pretty bad shape before we decided something had to be done about it. In fact, we had to close it off so it wasn't accessible to the public. And it took a while for that to happen. Are there any other parks that might be, that we have to take a look at, that might need this kind of work done?
I'm looking around now, like I said, Barker is fine, and like I said, we just redid Lambert, I believe. We did Lambert at the dog park for the gazebo. That was structurally failing. We renovated that. And I think, like I said, community park is structurally sound, so just Cooper Smith, like I said, Cooper Smith is circa 1973, that pavilion went up, so.
And the other issue with Cooper Smith is it's all wood. And so over time, it's just needs installed.
Okay, well, moving on to agenda item number 9, which is discussion and possible approval of proposals from Snyder Environmental Services, Inc. through the CoStar's Cooperative Purchasing Program for storm sewer lining in the Fresh Meadows and Canterbury developments. Chris?
Mr. Chairman, before the board this evening are proposals from Snyder Environmental Services for the lining of storm sewer pipe in the Fresh Meadows and Canterbury developments. These quotes are being provided through the CoStar's Cooperative Purchasing Program. I will note that in front of the board are revised proposals that we received from Snyder today to add bonding, and that did add about $10,500 to the cost of the project. But there were specific bonding requirements. So this is part of the township's continuing initiative to address the issues with corrugated metal pipe. As the board is aware, the township's Public Works Department has been working diligently over the last several years to address the issues of corrugated metal pipe in the community. This is the result of deterioration and failures that have occurred. Specific to Fresh Meadows, the Public Works Department has replaced over 1,700 linear feet of corrugated metal pipe since 2024 and is nearly complete with the work being done in-house. And then Mark identified the Canterbury development as the next area to address as part of this program. So in terms of the cost breakdown, the Canterbury lining is $483,826 plus $8,500, so about $492,000 with the bonding added into it. And then the Fresh Meadows proposal is roughly $109,600 with the bonding added into it. So the cost, in reviewing the capital reserve fund in the 2026 budget, the township allocated $275,000 for the completion of the work in Fresh Meadows. and $515,000 for the work in the Canterbury development. And I'll note that we've utilized Snyder Environmental Services for lining projects in the past and have been generally pleased with their work.
Thank you, Chris. Does the board have questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nate.
How long will the Canterbury project take?
For the lining, I think they said 5 to 6 weeks, and possibly start mid-late summer.
Thanks.
Is this all the lining you expect to have to do in Canterbury, Mark, or is there going to be further lining work needed?
Yeah, this should be it. Yeah.
Is there also dig and replace project in Canterbury as well?
Yeah. We have about 500 feet there to dig in place.
And that's going to be done in-house?
Yes.
Other questions from the board?
Will this lining complete the work at Fresh Meadows?
Yes.
Another question, Mark. Why is there a difference in unit price per linear foot between the Canterbury proposal and the Fresh Meadows proposal for the 24-inch PVC liner? For the Canterbury proposal, it's $201 per linear feet, whereas for the Fresh Meadows, it's $172 per linear feet for the 24-inch PVC lining. I don't understand why there's almost a $30 difference per linear foot between one project and the other. Is there something else that's going on here that would explain that?
In the Canterbury neighborhood, there's a lot of short runs, so there's a lot of stopping and starting where they have to cut the pipe and then start the pipe again. That could be part of it. Or they're just based, they're going to be in Canterbury a lot longer, they can mobilize in that neighborhood, so it could be a little cheaper that way.
It just seems like a significant difference between the two. They're both the same, I assume it's the same product, 24-inch PVC liner. Why there be so much?
If you look at a map of Canterbury, there's a lot of inlets that are close together. So there's, like I said, a lot of stopping and starting. Fresh Meadows, I think.
So you say it'd be shorter runs, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's more labor involved.
So there'd be more labor involved in setting up, breaking down, setting up, breaking down.
Exactly.
Chris, can you repeat the total for each of these? And
So-
I can't see them on here. Am I missing where it is?
Okay, so for Fresh Meadows, we'll add in the bonding. So for Fresh Meadows, it was, what's 1849? $109,435. That's the new proposal that we got with the bonding. And then for Canterbury, it was $492,335. 335, yes.
Other questions from the board? So I have two questions. One is, even though this is a CoStar's vendor, I feel the amount involved here is over $600,000 now. I think we should get a competitive price from another CoStar's vendor on this. It's just my personal view. For example, Mr. Rehab is who we use at the sanitary sewer lining projects. They do excellent work as well. They're a CoStar's vendor, and I believe they could do storm sewer lining. Their product may be different. It may not be PVC. It could be the, is it polyethylene or poly? Chris, do you know if it's polypropylene they use to line? No, it's not the granite. It's the cured in place pipe lining. It's a very similar plastic lining. It's just potentially different from PVC.
We did reach out to Mr. Rehab in 24, the fall of 24, and he didn't get back to us.
Try them again, try someone else. I just feel we need to know that $600,000 is a reasonable price to pay and that there isn't a $400,000 project that's a reliable vendor too.
What did we budget for
So we budgeted $275 for finishing up the work in Fresh Meadows and $515 for Canterbury.
It's $275 just for the lining or for the other work that you have to do there?
It was, for Fresh Meadows, it was a combination of both.
So it's all within what we budgeted, but I tend to agree with Sean. I think we can get it.
Being CoStar's approved is great, but we should do enough due diligence to assure ourselves that vendor we selected in CoStars is competitively pricing.
What I'd like to do, so Mark, if the board's okay with this, so Mark's not kind of hanging out there, because a lot of these prices are time sensitive. Mark goes back and contacts them tomorrow, give him a deadline to turn it around within like a week, maybe two, so that we can get this back in front of the board, because I don't want Mark to be hanging out there.
Yeah, we should be able to, they should be able to turn this around. You've got enough information here for them to prepare a bid for you or a price for you, and we can approve it at the next meeting. But, you know, whether it's Snyder or someone else that you come up with that seems to can do the job.
Okay. You okay with that, Mark?
Yeah.
All right.
It is, they don't call back.
Yeah, if they don't call back,
They don't
I'd say
call
it's on
back.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we've had success with this. Talk to Mike. He may have a specific contact for you there.
Yeah.
It's always better than.
Mike contacted me the other day, he wanted to know who we use.
Well, I told him to contact you on that.
Okay.
So I told him Snyder was doing this, potentially doing the storm sewer, and that he wanted to get, because I asked the same thing of Mike, we've got a price from Mr. Rehab, but you should get other CoStars quotes, so.
Yeah, so I'd give them until the end of the day next Wednesday to respond.
Yeah. All right, so we don't, for tonight, we've got good feel for this. It looks like it's going to be close to budget. We've got a way forward here, and then hopefully in 2 weeks we'll be approving one vendor to do the work. Any other questions or comments? Is there any public comments or questions on that discussion? Okay, then we'll move on to agenda item 10. Discussion and possible approval of a temporary construction easement at 1124 Warren Road for the Basin Road Stream Bank Restoration Project. This is with Chris.
So, Mr. Chairman, before the board this evening is a temporary construction easement at 1124 Warren Road for the Basin Road Stream Bank Restoration Project. Chris, Mark, and I had met with the property owner almost a year ago to discuss this project. We did kind of have some back and forth with them, and then they did execute the temporary construction easement so that we can go in and complete this work. And I've put together the survey plan of where the easement is going to be located. As this is temporary, it doesn't need, Chris, it doesn't need to be recorded, but it would still need to be approved by the board. So I think this is, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the final piece before the project can finish design and go out to bid. Is that correct?
That's correct. We've been waiting quite some time.
Questions from the board?
My understanding is from your sketch here from the survey that was done, this is the area that would be the easement in the gray here, correct?
That's correct.
This belongs to the township now?
Correct.
So this will give us access after the restoration is done for any future access to that area if we need to get back there, is that correct?
So just to the west of the easement that is shown with the hatched area is a piece of the parcel that abuts Warren Road, so that would be the point of access going forward.
So this actually belongs to the township now?
Correct.
So this temporary, I mean, what are you, the equipment that's coming in through this temporary easement, are you narrowing it? I mean, well, how are you getting to the actual area where the work is being done? Is it all along the border there that's shown on where that temporary easement is, or is it further along?
So the rest of it that the pointer was just showing is township land. The hatched area is going to be used for equipment storage, access, and also stockpiling of material. As you know, we're removing quite a bit of material here, legacy soils, to remove vertical faces from the banks of the stream. So we need adequate space to do that. So that's a large part of why this easement is required, apart from the access.
Okay, so it's more than just access. Other questions for?
You need a lay down area, basically.
Other questions for Chris or Chris? Chris, in your office prepared the easement, it's a standard agreement?
That's correct.
And this is going to go towards our MS4 credit?
Correct.
Okay, so board member willing to approve the easement agreement?
Second.
Okay, so a motion from John and seconded by Tina to approve the temporary construction easement at 1124 Warren Road for the Basin Road Stream Bank Restoration Project. Any questions from the board? Any public comment or questions? Okay, then we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0.
Quick question, Chris, on this. Any idea when this project possibly could be started?
It's likely to start this summer. We have a few things to clean up on the design. We'll be issuing a bidding schedule shortly thereafter. Bidding typically ranges in the 45-day period, and we have to target a meeting for authorization. Once the contract has been awarded, there's another about 30 days or so until we can conduct a pre-construction meeting. So I think that kind of puts us squarely at a good time to be doing stream work in the middle of the summer.
And how long do you think the project will take?
It'll be a 90-day contract. Substantial completion, 120-day final completion.
Okay, very good. Next is agenda item number 11, discussion and possible approval of a three-year service agreement with ChargePoint for West Goshen Township's EV charging stations. Chris.
Mr. Chairman, before the board this evening is a proposed 3-year agreement with ChargePoint for the township's electric vehicle charging stations. The township has utilized ChargePoint for the electrical vehicle charging stations at both the municipal complex and community park. The quoted price of $19,770 represents the total during the life of the agreement and could be billed annually, which would be $6,590 per year. And I believe, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that's around what you put in the budget for the service agreement?
Yes, correct.
Yep.
And has the level of support to date been satisfactory, Mike?
They're very responsive.
Any other questions?
Are we happy with their performance generally?
I've generally
With
been not.
Are we happy?
ChargePoint or with the
With
equipment?
the equipment?
Yeah, very little maintenance, very little issues.
Weren't they, we had some discussions where they were like in some trouble as a company and we thought that maybe they weren't going to be around for long.
Not too sure. I mean, I heard rumors, but I wasn't, no confirmation on that or anything.
Yeah.
If they get in trouble, someone's going to buy them out and take over their business. So.
So this will cover all the EV charging stations we have in the township?
Yes, for 3 years. Yeah, for the cloud plans and insurance programs, correct?
That's 5 at this point, right, Mike? 5 stations in total?
5 locations?
5 locations,
Yes,
10
10
stations.
chargers. Now, for the 2 chargers that are public chargers, the one here at the township building and one at the community park,
Yes.
Person who plugs in has to pay for that. Do we fold into the cost of their charge for them to charge their vehicle this expense here?
We did. We upped the rate last. It was either last year or the year before that to fold in the cost for the service contract.
Yeah, per kilowatt hour we upped it.
Will it need updating again for this latest price? I don't know if this is an increase from what we are paying, but.
I can go back and look at it. I want to say that the contract that was approved previously, I don't think it was for all the stations because we were still installing some new ones that had some under warranty. But I want to say that was around $7,000, I believe. But we did go back, I forget if it was 2024, 2025, and I did work with ChargePoint to increase the amount that was paid.
You have a per station price for each of them, so you can actually charge per the cost of the station here.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
And we did increase them.
Okay.
So I can work with them to increase it more.
But just look at what makes sense. We should be charging people what it costs to cover this additional service contract for those public stations. You have the specific numbers. Any other questions?
Well, I'd just be curious, I don't expect the answer tonight right now, but I'm just curious how much of a return, how are these stations at the community park and here at the township building actually being utilized? I mean, are we actually getting any usage out of them by the public?
We are. We have to report that usage to the state every year. So I would say we are, for the public stations, I believe we are getting some significant usage from them. Mike gathers all that data.
People go up at lunchtime, they plug their cars in during lunch, they sit up at the park and eat. So we're getting used, we had cars here last week at our charging station, so they get used.
Yeah, we have to file a report every January.
Any other questions?
Ken has a question.
Just wanted to say, as a township employee who drives an electric car and whose charger at home is currently not working, I do appreciate the fact that I can not be debilitated by the plug. So thank you.
Very good. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so we're looking for a board member to make a motion to approve the 3-year service agreement with ChargePoint to be billed annually.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, John. Any questions or comments on the motion? Any public comments or questions? Okay, we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, motion passes 5-0. Agenda item 12 is discussion and possible approval of the 2026 Arbor Day proclamation. So before the board this evening is West Goshen Township's 2026 Arbor Day proclamation. The township has recognized Arbor Day annually through a proclamation adopted by the board. Additionally, the township has been recognized by the Tree City USA program through the Arbor Day Foundation, and doing this is a component of that program. So any questions or comments from the board members? I'm happy to read some of the Arbor Day proclamation.
What is the day and time?
So the day is always the last Friday in April, and I don't believe there's going to be a specific celebration or event that the SAC is doing this year.
Other questions? So I'm going to just read a little bit of the proclamation for the public record. So, whereas trees filter polluted runoff, help minimize flooding, clean streams, improve air quality, reduce energy costs, and produce life-giving oxygen, sequester carbon, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees increase property values, improve quality of life, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees are living links to our community's history and an expression of optimism for the future. Whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Therefore, we, the Board of Supervisors of West Goshen Township, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2026 as Arbor Day in West Goshen Township. And furthermore, we urge all who live, work, and learn in West Goshen Township to celebrate Arbor Day, to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands, to celebrate our historic trees, and to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of future generations. So we need a motion to approve the proclamation.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. So I have Tina and John have motion to approve the Arbor Day proclamation I just read. Is there any comments or questions from the board? Any public comments or questions? Doug?
In addition to this, I'd like to see them also strengthen our tree replacement standards and maybe incorporate something that prohibits clear cutting.
So, good point. I was going to ask a question which I forgot to ask, which is our current plan revisions to zoning and the Saldo ordinances, I believe, are intended to enhance tree replacement landscaping requirements during land development projects. That's correct, right?
That's correct. So there was an amendment to the subdivision land development ordinance it was reviewed by the Planning Commission in December, and the Planning Commission made the determination that they wanted to kind of get through the zoning ordinance process before acting on an amendment to the subdivision land development ordinance.
Were you at that meeting then, Doug, where that was reviewed? So that's coming up.
Well, I was told that the Sustainable Committee is working on an actual, to increase the tree replacement, to strengthen that. It's also in the comp plan. That's all,
and that's the ordinance that was presented to the Planning Commission in December, I believe it was.
Yeah, that was kind of a general landscape thing, but it could have included.
Well, did it not have a change to the tree replacement requirements in Saldo?
I
think it did.
Okay, we'll look at it, but anyway, it's just the comment.
Well, is it going to go back to the Planning Commission since they already reviewed it?
No, we'll go back. They didn't make a recommendation or any type of action on it, so we'll have to go back through that.
So I think your question is going to be answered by that process.
Yeah, just a comment. Thank you.
All right, so any other public comments or questions? Stephen?
Just a quick one. It mentions historic trees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have that one tree, the weeping
beech tree.
Weeping beech tree that's.
I think it was cut down.
No, it's still there.
Is it still there?
Yeah, we take care of it.
There was another one that was cut down, I think.
That was before my time.
But
I know our public works crew and outside contractors maintain the historic weeping beech tree. We're under an easement with that was gifted to us by, I believe, Longwood, if I'm remembering correctly.
That's right.
So we maintain that.
That's great. There are several historic sycamore witness trees on Forsyth Farm dating back to Truman Forsyth, who was former Board of Supervisors for West Goshen. And he was close friends with Isaac J. Winters, who served in the Civil War. And that's why these historic trees are important, because spiritually and historically, they connect the community to their past. And that enriches quality of life.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, we have a motion. Is there any other public comment? Okay, then we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. Agenda item number 13, discussion regarding amendments to the West Township Comprehensive Plan. Chris.
Mr. Chairman, before the board this evening are proposed amendments to Westtown Township's comprehensive plan. Westtown Township is amending its comprehensive plan to address the property at Creability Preserve that was recently acquired. I provided a letter from Westtown Township's manager, Mila Carter, outlining the proposed amendments. Pursuant to section 302A of the PA Municipalities Planning Code, Westtown Township provided a copy of the proposed amendments to the township for comment. They are scheduled to have a public hearing on these amendments on April 20th, 2026. In reviewing the documents, I don't believe that these changes will have any negative impact on the township, and the Planning Commission reviewed these at their meeting on March 10th and did not offer any comments on the proposed amendments. So they provided these to us as a requirement under the MPC.
Okay, thank you, Chris. So what action is the board need to do this evening?
If you have any comments that you want to provide, I'm happy to relay those to Ms. Carter as part of their consideration. But let me pull up. So essentially they're amending their future land use map and doing a zoning map to correspond with the zoning map amendment. So this is the proposed future land use map that they're incorporating. And I believe Creability Farms is the Creability Preserve is the hatched area outlined in purple along 926. And then the other area is the inn at the intersection of 926 and 202, and then as well as the church, which I believe is the large yellow area in red along 202. And the map amendment, if I'm remembering correctly, was to support their goal for affordable housing.
At the church?
This is the zoning, the church, yes.
I think I read this.
Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, you did.
So this is, and then this would be the updated zoning map.
Okay, so all these parcels are well south of our border with them, correct?
Correct.
926 or we're all on 926?
Or a little bit, like in between 202 and 926. Again, they're providing these to us as required under the MPC, so I'm bringing them to the board to see if you have any concerns, comments, or anything that you would like relayed back to Westtown.
Very good. Does any board member have any comments? The Planning Commission had no comments.
The Planning Commission had no comments.
I have no comments. Thank you.
We'll, since the Park Recreation and Open Space Plan is an amendment to our comp plan, we will be doing this with our neighboring municipalities as well.
Does anyone here from the public have any comments on what we just discussed? Okay. We'll move on to agenda item number 14, which is discussion and possible approval of a contribution to the America 250 event on August the 2nd, 2026, being sponsored by the Westchester Area Council of Governments. This is with the board. So before the board this evening is consideration to authorize a $3,000 contribution for the Westchester Area Council of Governments America 250 event on August the 2nd in Westchester Borough. Each municipality in the Westchester area COG is being asked to contribute the same amount. It is our understanding that the event will involve a living timeline on Gay Street in Westchester, followed by a drone show. The Township's Park and Rec Director, Ken, has been involved in the planning of the event. Please be advised that the Township allocated $30,000 in our budget for this year for events activities associated with America 250. As the board is aware, the Township is also partnering with East Goshen Township for an event on May the 30th. Ken has advised that in reviewing the budget information, there is adequate flexibility to accommodate the cost of both events. Ken, you have any other adds to that?
No, we are committed $25,000 towards the joint celebration with East Goshen Township. We have put in $30,000 so that there would be a buffer, and if there were any other opportunities to celebrate America 250, so nobody usually just come running in there.
Is there any likelihood that 25 may have to increase when the costs come in, or they
Our hope is that
finish
it
the
goes the other
planning?
way, that we're going to get sponsors and then the price comes down.
Okay.
Right now we are, I want to say, I forget if it's a little over 1,000 under budget. does that sound about
That
right?
sounds about right.
For the expenses that we have lined up for the East Goshen portion of the 250 celebration.
And if I'm remembering correctly, the committee with the Goshenville committee has received some grant funding to offset some of those costs.
Okay. And then the events that we're hosting, organizing as part of the America 250 celebration, that is not in this budget line item of 30,000?
That is, all the ones that we,
Like the 2 speakers we've had?
yeah, that's all part of that. The America 250 budget, that line item was for events throughout the year.
Okay. It wasn't
So-
specific to that May 30th event?
No, the May
got it.
30th is going to be the major event, which will have the largest expenses.
Yeah.
But everything throughout the year is all part of it.
Fantastic, thank you.
And if I'm remembering correctly, the costs for the speaker events were relatively minimal.
Yeah.
Most of the speakers are the $200.
Ken, can you tell us a little bit more about this event on August 2nd in the borough, and is the living time, and what's all this
Yeah,
about?
so what will happen is, it's between 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock is the living timeline portion of it. The 4 blocks of K Street that are usually closed off for the Westchester Restaurant Festival, chili cook-off and so forth, I believe that's between Darlington and Matlack, would be closed off. And what would happen is, I'm not sure which end is which. One end would be 1776, one end would be 2026, and each block would be a period of time in between them. So you could walk through history. On High Street, there will be children's activities. So parents with kids can have moon bounces and all those other fun things. And the event will kick off at the courthouse steps with a public reading of the Declaration of Independence, with residents from each municipality taking portions of the Declaration, along with the flag presented and raising and so forth. There will be a little break in the activity between 8 and 9 o'clock. We're encouraging local restaurants and bars to have themed dishes for the holidays as part of the fun. And then at 9, there will be the drone show. The drone show will be visible from the street. We will be utilizing 2 of the Westchester parking garages. One will be for VIPs, elected officials, and donors, so that we can raise some of the money to offset it. The other one will be just random drawing from residents of the various COG municipalities. The idea was to keep it equitable, where just regular citizens who may not be able to afford a VIP ticket may still get a chance to get a nice view of the drones.
Now, are folks from the community, volunteers making this happen? I mean, who's going to be putting this show on?
Well, right now, we have representatives from the 7 COG municipalities who serve on the committee. I should say the 7 COG municipalities and other partners. We have had representatives from the Historic Museum, the Chester County Community Foundation, and I'm trying to think of the other groups. But yeah, we're all meeting twice a month right now to do all the organizing of it. And yes, we will be putting out a call to volunteers from our respective individual communities as well.
Sounds like a big great event.
It should be.
Stuff.
Thank you, Ken. Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, so board member willing to make a motion to approve the contribution of $3,000 to the America 250 event sponsored by the Westchester Area COG.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Nate. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. Any comments or questions from the board on the motion? Is there any public comment or questions? Okay, then we'll take the vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. Agenda item 15 is approval of the bills to be paid for the general fund, the sewer revenue fund, the waste and recycling fund, and the capital reserve fund. I will make a motion to approve those bills. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Nate.
I have some
Any questions or comments on the bills?
Yeah, I have a question on, I guess, the first page of the manual of bills. There's a police station gas bill of $402.75. Aren't they using our underground storage tanks to fill up the cars? Or are they using both? What's the or is that to fill up the underground storage tank price?
So
That's the
which
gas supply to the police buildings, not gas as in gasoline. That's
for
Pico gas.
Pico?
Oh, it's why does it say Constellation?
Oh, Constellation provides the gas service.
Okay, so that's for the underground storage tanks?
No, that's the
That's
building
heating.
gas.
Oh, the building,
Heating.
okay. And then the other question I had is there's four prices for reimbursement on mailboxes from 124 to 184 to 300 to 86. I thought we had an ordinance that we were given.
Up to $300.
Okay.
The actual cost incurred.
So they're submitting the invoices for the actual costs?
Yes,
to
they
replace
submit their receipts, and I can tell you some of them were significantly over $300.
And does that include installation?
Well, only one is
Okay.
capped, so the other three weren't, right?
It's capped at 300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's four in here, there's only one was
How
like
much,
seven.
how much was the?
I think one was about $750.
For what?
They understood that they had a $300 cap.
Oh,
Yeah, they
okay.
fully understood it, but yeah, I think one was like $750.
Is it made out of gold?
They sent a picture of the mailbox.
And Mark sees all of them.
Nice.
It looks nice for
Better-
$700?
better.
I can tell you this, most people were very, they were appreciative and they were pretty nice about everything.
Yeah, it's making things go very smooth.
All right. Any questions, Tina?
No.
Any other questions for the board member on the bills?
I just have a question. I had check number 105131. There's three entries there for Microsoft 365 licenses. There's 781, 611, and another one at 305. I'm just curious, why are there three separate payments for the Microsoft 365 license?
They're broken down by department.
So this is a different department?
Any other questions on the bills? Okay, we have a motion. Is there any public comment on the bills to be paid? Okay, then we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? Hearing none, the motion passes 5-0. I move to adjourn the meeting at 7:50. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of adjournment say aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you everyone for being here.
So this is just for these two, or just for Charlotte? This is for everybody else. I have to
Just one thing I forgot to ask you. We're still working on this.